Good evening, GPVWC fans, and welcome to our journey eastwards. It's round 2 of the Formula Sprint 1 Championship. After our opener in Imola, we now reach Bahrain and the Sakhir International Circuit. My name is Eoin Harmon, and this evening my broadcast partner is Yousuf bin-Suhayl. Yousuf, how are you keeping?
I'm doing alright, Owen. Good to be back for some GPVWC Formula Sprint action, and we're in glorious sunshine at Bahrain, although we were in glorious sunshine at Imola as well.
Yeah, very well remembered. It was sunny, but the temperature difference is absolutely extraordinary here, as we are now very much in the Middle East. And the task of all the other teams is to try and put a dent into the TOP esports. Pretty much a rocking start. It was a magnificent performance across the board for Szymon Frelick, as we witnessed 2 weeks ago. And if anything can be done to stop them, they'll have to hurry up and do it today, because with Australia coming up and Saudi Arabia, they'll be in the next month or so. They'll have to figure out how on earth they can bring the championship into a more equal bearing. So yeah, it's a great opportunity to try something different with Bahrain in its format. Very technical track with a mixture of long straights, chicanes, very quick, and indeed some of the remarkable hairpins that we are all familiar with. We will be witnessing a 28-lap race 1 followed by a 19-lap sprint, as well as the opening qualifying session due to begin in just a moment. So any thoughts on what you're going to see today, Yousuf?
I think we're going to see some really good races out here today, and one of the things that I always like to bring up is to compare the circuit that we are currently racing at today to the one that we saw 2 weeks ago. And 2 weeks ago when we were at Imola, Imola is a very, very tight circuit. It's a very fun track to drive, but it is very difficult to overtake. Here at Bahrain, though, you've got 3, if not 4 long straights where overtaking can occur, and it just means that it becomes a little bit less difficult to make your way through the field. So we saw back last time out at Imola in race 2, Szymon Frelick taking his time to work through the field. I think here for Formula Sprint 1 in the second race, that's going to be less of an issue. So I expect to see the race winners from the first race being able to make their way through the field a little bit quicker. Something else that we heard from our broadcaster, Tom Stevens himself, is that tyre wear is more of an issue. So maybe the likes of bin-Suhayl, who pulled off an incredible one-stop strategy on the soft tyres in race 2 weeks ago, won't be able to be that creative with his strategies this time.
Yeah, very, very well observed there, Yousuf. It is a case of probably a bit more parity. There aren't as many strategies available. Just as the practice clock will hit 0, I'd like to take a moment to say a special thank you to the GPVMG team for putting in extra shifts to make sure our broadcasts will be to the quality we all expect. The work behind the scenes has meant more improved frames in our broadcast software. So yeah, I really appreciate all the work that has been put into it, and I hope the output comes from it will be well rewarded. So yeah, I hope the improvement in the quality will show, and yeah, it all puts the volunteer efforts from the for the members all into perspective. So yeah, fingers crossed everything goes to plan.
Now, I'm trying to remember as well here, we had an interview with one of the drivers after Imola, and they were talking about how they had just jumped into the car for the first time after quite a while away. And I'm trying to remember if that was Thomas Harvey or maybe Jack Mayer.
Gosh, yeah. Don't think we got to speak to Jack. I think it was
Thomas Mayer.
Yeah, Harvey. Thomas Harvey,
Mayer.
Yeah.
You know, combine the two of them for extra speed. So I have a feeling that maybe we're going to see a Thomas Harvey victory out tonight. I know you talked about how TOP Esports had a very good showing in the first round, but I think they would have expected more. Let's not forget that Thomas Harvey had a bit of an incident in his second race. Finished the first race, I believe, in third behind Mike Quinn for Jack Mayer, and then the second race he had an incident with just a few laps to go, which cost him what could have been a podium and potentially a 1-2 for TOP Esports in that second race. So Today, I think he's going to be looking to get the upper edge over his teammate Shimon Freilich.
Yeah, it was a 1-2. Freilich ahead of Mayer in race 1. Then disaster struck for Mayer in race 2, so he lost a heap of points. And as a matter of fact, he's 25 points behind his teammate just for that one incident. Quint was more consistent on the weekend for Malta Force, so that is the closest challenge that Shimon has to think about at the minute. But yeah, Thomas Harvey would have really appreciated that double podium opportunity. But yeah, he'll be gunning for it now with the Spark team. Yeah, it's a wide open championship, I still believe, despite what we saw from TOP. So yeah, it's a chance for other drivers who may not have felt their prime driving was able to be done in Imola. So yeah, it's a new opportunity, and we'll be looking forward to the qualifying session, which shall begin in due course.
No, let's not forget as well in Formula Sprint, it is very, very close. And I'm having a look at the practice times, and bearing in mind this is from a 30-minute practice session, you don't really know what people are doing, if they're going for qualifying runs, if they're going for race runs. Probably qualifying runs, considering qualifying's just around the corner, and then there is a quick warm-up session before the race. But you look at the top 10 drivers, 4/10 separating them. The top 4 separated by just over a tenth of a second. Once again, it's going to be very, very close between the likes of Thomas Harvey, the TOP esports drivers of Jack Mayer and Shimon Freilich, and Carlos Martin as well for Netrex, putting in a really good job. Suhayl also looking very quick as well currently.
Yeah, there's plenty to look forward to in this upcoming qualifying session. So yeah, it's not guaranteed that it'll be a walkover. So here we go. Our first cars will now leave pit lane, and they'll wait for the 15 minutes clock to hit 0 exactly. Otherwise, they will be breaking the red lights. So there we go. 2, 1, 0. So now Thomas Harvey is first to meet the green light for the beginning of the qualifying session, the private session, meaning the drivers are all on track at the same time, but they do not interact with each other. So it's a purely open session. The best driver should get the pole position, and yeah, that target time 1:36. Maybe if someone really pulls out of the bag at 1:35.8 or 9 is possible. Yeah, that's all the excitement is very possible, but it have to be absolutely exemplary to get the job done. So yeah, we'll see Harvey following along here, getting his outlap done. And yeah, those brake temperatures are going to be exceedingly hot. Track temperature nearly 50 degrees Celsius out there, Yousuf.
Now, I want to go back to something that you said, which is the best driver is going to get pole. Define best driver, Eoin.
Well, the one that is able to meet the demands of the start-finish straights. They're able to get out of the final corners properly, and then they're strong on the brakes, able to turn in properly, manage the tires and the other gizmos in the car. So yeah, that'll be my definition of best. But yeah, it is a case of, even if someone is a favourite and it doesn't work out in this segmented session, yeah, that may not prove to be correct thing to say, but I honestly believe the driver that has that skill will prove it today.
See, because I feel like there's so much more that goes into how good a driver can be. Because yes, qualifying is one aspect, but let's not forget as well, racecraft comes into it, tyre management comes into it, being able to quickly adapt during a race to a possible incident that is happening, just to be able to keep your nose clean through the open lap. So there's so much stuff that goes towards it. I feel like just saying that whoever happens to top the qualifying session is the best driver is ignoring a lot of the other attributes that certain drivers might bring to the table, and especially when a qualifying session can be so close. You also get to the whole point of consistency in a qualifying session. You could have one driver who is consistently putting in a pole time to the nearest few thousands over the course of the qualifying session, and then one other driver who's been off the pace just hooks up that one magical lap at the end. Are they necessarily the better driver because they got 1 out of 5 laps, right? Because they were going for more of a high risk, high reward approach in qualifying than a driver who's going for a little bit of a safer approach just to make sure they could hook up a lap every single time.
Yeah, that certainly put me in my place there, Yousuf. So yeah, very well put. Yeah, we'll see if it is a case of one lap magic or someone who has the banker lap and they're able to constantly decrease it and make sure they're on that front row. But yeah, racecraft and calmness under pressure in the race conditions, that's absolutely going to be a factor. So yeah, we'll see now as Thomas Harvey reaches the final corner. Can he hook up this lap at the very first time of asking? Yeah, he's got it nailed on here, so he can now push as hard as he can to the finish line. Is it going to be that 136? Yes, it is a 136.4. That is the best we've seen so far. Yeah, other drivers all coming in at the approximate same time. But Maciej Hila has actually done about half a segment better there, 4:04 within that the thousandths of a second there, Yousuf.
Now, Szymon Frelick was on a really quick lap. He was slower than Maciej Hila in the opening sector, but in his middle sector, he was nearly a tenth faster than Maciej. I believe he had a track limit invalidation somewhere in the final sector. So he's actually had to abort his lap to accept Szymon Frelick to jump up the standards, our championship leader as well, let's not forget. But so far, a very, very good start to the qualifying session for Maciej Hila, who's looking to build on a very impressive Formula Sprint 1 Race 2 performance at Imola.
Yeah, so yeah, that'll be a bit of a disappointment for Frelick having that time deleted, but it's all well and good if he can try again next time. Watching here, Volkanov.
He did not get a 36. Oh, for a second I saw the 36.404 and I thought it was saying that was Vaquinov's lap time. I was like, no, that is definitely not the case. That is the full time from Maciej Hila, which is why it says target time under it, and that is why I should read before I start talking.
Yeah, Volkanov is actually P18 there. Pixelate will be looking for an improvement compared to how they got on in the Imola round. So the opportunity will be there for them if they can take it. So that'll be hopefully a chance to improve. So we're now watching Frelick. He will now hopefully get to register a valid time, running down to the timing line on his out lap. So we'll begin to watch him now as he nailed the first sector. We figuring that out very soon. He had a long run to the opening complex. He's staking perfectly in the middle of the track. That's where you need to be.
You just see that little rear end twitch actually coming out of turn one as he eased onto the power. Just that rear end stepping out, getting a little bit greedy onto the power was Frelick, though he does keep his car under control. Brings sector one to a close. And what is that opening sector time delta looking like? It's a 29.7, so nearly 2/10 off what he was able to do on his provisional lap. So Frelick maybe taking things a little bit safer just to ensure he does hook this lap together and doesn't get another track invalidation.
Yeah, getting 2 times docks from your allotted count, yeah, that'll be very, very troubling. Yeah, he's using all of that runoff area, keeping the left-hand tires within the limits. So yeah, that could be tactical from Frelick, using a little bit extra tarmac to get the ideal turn in. Now up the hill before the next braking point. Yeah, he's still not in purple. But yeah, this should get him well among the contenders. Can just find that last bit from this third sector. It won't be Paul unless he really pulls it out from the sleeves. So we'll see now what is this time going to be. Probably 136.7, no, 136.5. Yeah, he's just shy there, third position.
And I think Omari Watson just jumped up in it to 5th place as well with a 136.685. So we're looking at about 2.5 tenths separating the top 5 drivers. Still Maciej Hila on pole from Thomas Harvey, Szymon Frelick, Vincent Gut and Omari Watson. Carlos Martin now dropping down into P6. Federico Russo having a really good session so far, currently in 7th for Alpha Delta Racing. Jan Dragoon as well in P8 ahead of Alex Lahu and Jack Mayer, who I'm sure by Jack standards won't be too happy with a current P10, although he has just set a new personal best in the opening sector.
Yeah, it's all relative really. The chance to hook that one perfect lap at the end is probably what some drivers have in mind. Dragoon just within the top 10 there. He has another opportunity to perhaps expand on that. Personal best into the first sector. Can he achieve it? Watching him, yeah, it's a bit, yeah, it's certainly very smooth. We'll see if it carries on to the next timing line.
It was a very good opening sector for Dragoon. Actually, Dragoon,
Yes.
Rousseau, and May are all very, very close together. And that is a phenomenally quick middle sector from Jan Dragoon. It might even take him well into the top 5.
Yeah, if he can nail this final corner, it really should be challenging for that top 5. Maybe getting onto the second row ahead of Freilich or Gut. That would be job well done for this timing. And yes, it's actually second, P2 for Dragoon, just 500ths behind Machi Hila for that pole position.
Jack Mayer jumped up into P4, so now less than 2/10 separating the top 5 drivers. Thomas Harvey is on a lap. Matthias Zubinski also improved up into P12 with a 36.834, but keep your eyes on Thomas Harvey because he has actually beaten Jan Dragoon in the opening sector. So let's see what his middle sector time looks like as he makes his way through turn 11.
Yeah, just gotta keep the finger on the pulse, see what it is. It's purple, 42.516 for sector 2. He's gonna absolutely just power it down. One more corner to go. Is it worthy of getting ahead of the build sim of Hila's? Here we go. This is the final sprint to the line. Can it be 136.3? Oh, it's 36.2, exceeding my expectations. And that's a provisional pole by 1.5 hundredths of a second, or 15 hundredths.
Really, really quick lap from Thomas Harvey. Absolutely blows everyone else out of the water. Kind of like what we saw from Szymon Freilich 2 weeks ago. As now we're looking at Patrick Rojak, who's put in some very good opening sectors. He's currently about 3/10 off at Thomas Harvey, but that would be enough to put him in P5 ahead of Szymon Freilich. In fact, so he makes his way through the final corner, does Patrick Rojak, and how is this final sector doing? It was a 23.9 from Thomas Harvey, which is the fastest of the session so far. Across the line then, a 24.1 in the final sector of Patrick Rojak up into P7.
Yeah, we're now really getting the gauntlet thrown down here. Plenty of drivers can see their pinnacle, and they're just gonna throw everything they've got to achieve it. Freilich just behind his teammate now, as a matter of fact, so this will be certainly a chance for bragging rights if Mayer can keep his teammate behind him after he dominated qualifying. It obviously was a close session, but once that qualifying session was done, he converted the pole into victory, and he is down on his personal best so far, but not by much. It's 5 thousandths. So yeah, it's one of the longest second sectors of the calendar, really. So you just have to remember it's a long haul, even if it is a minute 36 for these drivers. So yeah, but he's. Go ahead, Yousuf, sorry.
In fairness to Freilich, this is only 5 thousandths off Thomas Harvey's opening sector. Middle sector, 800ths off, so he's looking to be about a 10th shy of Thomas Harvey. That being said, this would be a lap that is good enough for the front row for Szymon Freilich, as now he makes his way down the long run into turn 14.
Yeah, it's very, very challenging here for Szymon. He has gotten through the final corner. Can he improve? Yes, he does. So it's back to third place for him, but it's just that final sprinkle of time. You just can't find it. Lucchini improves to 9th for Alpha Delta, and his teammate Russo's not too far behind. Drops down one position there. It's Dragoon improving again there, Yousuf, so we'll see. The times really tumble. Russo's gonna not. Oh, he does improve, 10th place. Not too bad.
I just want to point out, this is really, really bad for Szymon Freilich. There's not enough time to get back to the pits and do another lap, so I think that is Szymon Freilich's qualifying session over. The best he can get is a P3. Loic Mounier has put in an absolutely fantastic time, a 136.594. That's up to P6 for the TCS car, which is the highest we've seen it all season long, so really, really impressive stuff coming through. And let's not forget, the track is getting quicker and quicker. It is rubbering in. Vincent Gut is on a lap. His middle sector, though, isn't quite up to scratch. So I think he's not even going to have enough time to bail on this lap and go out again. So I think this is it for Vincent Gut and Spark Racing.
Yeah, some drivers are realizing, the time is against them now, so they have to abandon their laps and retry. It is going to be extremely tight. Hoekstra in 14th as of right now for HGP. He realizes this is his final chance, so he'll be taking his time. Mayer still in 5th, has got his opportunity here to put a stamp on the session, and he's running as hard as he can here. Can he get it? No, it doesn't look like it. He's just missed out on an improvement, unfortunately.
He lost out by nearly 2 seconds relative to Thomas Harvey in the final sector. Mike Quint puts in a time, but it is not that quick. 36.771. Let's not forget, Mike Quint currently 2nd in the championship, so this is not a good second round for Mike Quint so far. He's going to have a lot of work to do in the first race of the day. Suhayl, though, on an outlap. He hasn't been able to improve on his first run of a 36.404, but if he can improve on it and take pole away from Thomas Harvey, maybe this is going to be the start of the demise for TOP Esports.
Yeah, the hunger that the drivers will have now, they've realized, yes, we are able to get our own back on TOP, and Harvey and Gila looking the favourites to dismantle the perfect start to their lead drivers, well, in his mind, lead driver Freilig's campaign. So Harvey now getting through 1, 2 and 3 in turn 4. One of the most, it can be the most deceiving of corners on this track. We have seen plenty of track limits being broken there in the past. Clock strikes 0, so it's now or never. And now through the beautiful sweepers in the middle of the track, and now slowing down for turn 8, and then perhaps the corner that most drivers will know for sure, the double apex. Turn 10, got to slow down in the middle of turn 9 there and then nail it. Beautiful hit of the apex. And now down the school straight, I suppose you can call it. The other start line there.
Straight.
Yeah.
Also, Suhayl has put in a really good opening sector, actually quicker than Thomas Harvey. Still a few thousandths off what Thomas Harvey did on his personal best. Saw an improvement as well from Carlos Martin up into P11. Thomas Harvey unable to improve in that middle sector, so nearly a 10th down. Runs a little bit wide on the exit of a turn 13, so I don't think this will be an improvement for him. Suhayl also not improving in that middle sector with a 42.8, so I don't think anyone is going to really be able to change this order. Patrick Rojak, though, is on a quick lap. He's put in a decent middle sector, and he's jumped all the way up to P5 with a 36.494.
Yeah, I think the drivers are conceding. Dragoon also gives up his lap. Zubinski has a chance to improve from 17th. Hooks it up well out of the final corner. And he'd have to reach the 136.7 or better. And he does improve, yes. That's a 136.710. Furia has damaged his front wing there, Yousuf. That's an unusual one.
Yeah, so Furia's probably made a mistake, lost the rear end, and had a quick trip into the barriers. But that is all that qualifying has written. And I guess the real surprises is probably the likes of Mike Quint, Alex Lahou down in P15 and P16 respectively. But that does mean that we're going to be seeing some fun battling from the duo as they try to make their way up through the field in race 1. But Thomas Harvey, Suhayl on the front row, and after the performances we saw in Imola, I don't think either of us could have predicted that not one of the two top TOP esports drivers would be on that front row.
Yeah, I thought there would have been a chance for just one driver to really stand up and be counted for, but as a matter of fact, it's 2. So now we cross over to the second page. But yeah, congratulations to Thomas on a brilliant pole position, absolutely comprehensively, as a matter of fact. But the narrow margins are there to be felt, as 19 drivers were within 3/4 of a second of reaching that pole position. But yeah, lots of movement there within the battle for the low points. And then we reach the bottom of the page. So we have 29 valid times with Federico Marino, who will be having to start from the back of the grid. So yeah, the chance is there for people to take it, but now we know a championship order from our first round, so it is a bit more logical that we can see certain drivers near the top and the other drivers having to catch up. And we begin our warm-up session. So any thoughts on what strategies will be in play here, Yousuf?
I think we're just going to be seeing something standard, softs on to hards. Let's not forget that the drivers outside of the top 10 get to select which tyres they start on. The drivers inside the top 10 will be having to start on the soft tyres themselves, and if you are starting on the softs, I think you're probably going to hit just before the halfway mark or somewhere around there, and then take your hards to the end. If you're starting on the hard tyres, you have a little bit more freedom with when you want to pit. If you've got clean air and you want to utilize that clean air, or pit a bit earlier onto the soft tires, just to get a slight advantage in terms of the track position. But we should have a really fantastic two races ahead of us.
Yeah, we double up here in Formula Sprint 1, and the more the merrier for the drivers, particularly the ones that may be disappointed how race 1 ends up. There's a second opportunity to try and prove themselves again. So yeah, that's a very welcome addition, and we'll see how the drivers prepare themselves for the race. The ideal tyre selection that they make now should reflect what they plan to do in the race, either the opening stint or perhaps the chance to make up ground from a pit stop and then working their way into contention. We'll be following along with a variety of drivers here, getting a chance to observe what happens. So yeah, it is certainly a championship that had potential to grow, but we do want to see how those guys, Harvey and Gila, the two different teams that scored reasonably well in round 1, how they have the opportunity to make their name shine out in lights. So fingers crossed for them. But of course, TOP would love to carry on this brilliant start that they've had.
TOP in the championship stand is currently 20 points nearly ahead of Spark Racing Team, 17 points to be precise. And from qualifying performances anyway, I think TOP, Spark Racing and Bilsim Volcano Racing will be very, very closely matched today. Motorforce GP, I think, have a little bit of work to do pace-wise. Maybe they've got a setup that is more suited for the race and more suited to just preserving tyres over the course of a race distance. So we'll have to wait and see how everything does pan out. But we're going to be heading into a short break, and when we return, we'll have the start of our opening race for Formula Sprint 1 Round 2.
And welcome back for Formula Sprint 1 Round 2 action. Myself, Eoin Harmon and Yousuf bin-Suhayl are just about ready to get you through our first race of the evening. So we have our grid set up, and the warm-up session will be drawing to a close. And yeah, some of the names you'd expect are doing well here. So Yousuf, you have a prediction for who you think is going to win, I believe?
Well, I said in qualifying, didn't I? I think this is Thomas Harvey's race to take. But you know what I think would be more interesting, Owen? If we do a top 3 prediction. So, you know what? Let's both give our race winners, and then we'll finish off by doing the rest of the podium. So I think Thomas Harvey's going to take race 1. What about you?
I might back Gila from second place.
Okay, we've got a Gila fanboy or Hyla fanboy. Still don't know how to pronounce that. Mashi, if you do watch this stream back at some point, please message us or message me either happily or angrily and be like, my name is pronounced like this. And then that way we'll get it right for the rest of the season. Second, though, who's going to take second? So I think Thomas Harvey's going to take the win. I'm not going to back Mashi, and I know that's really weird. I am going to back Jack Mayer. I think Jack Mayer will take second.
I think I'll play it safe and go for Frelick for a second. Up to me.
So Thomas Harvey's not in your top 2. Interesting. No. I'm going to go Mashi, Hyla, or Gila third.
And I'll put Harvey third.
Okay, I see how it is. So I'm trying to remember where Shimon qualified. Was it 5th?
Shimon was 3rd, I believe, and Mayer was 6th.
Okay. Did Frelick out-qualify Mayer then?
I'm getting the mix up.
Yeah. We'll find out anyway when we head into the race. We would usually have, the qualifying list down, but whenever qualifying ends, we go into warm-up, so the order changes, so we no longer have the list down. So I think for future broadcasts, I'm just going to screenshot the qualifying
take
results.
Screenshots, definitely.
Yeah, and then just have it on the side, so I can't forget it.
Yeah, good plan.
Let's not forget, though, one thing I do remember is the fact that Mike Quint and Alex Lahou starting down in, I think it was P14, P15, around that area. So expecting them to be able to work their way up through the field. We'll see whether the Alex Lahou curse strikes again as well, because it struck 2 times, actually, at Imola 2 weeks ago. And I'm sure Alex is going to get at least one good result in today.
We spoke to Alex at the end of his tumultuous evening in Imola, so if he can put that behind him and get himself ready to go from his championship, pretty much he is rooted to the equal bottom. So yeah, hopefully it's Lahou's time to shine and he can prove himself in this overall season.
I think one other thing we can touch on is just overtaking points in general. Let's not forget DRS is a factor here. I believe DRS is available for the drivers into turn 1, into turn 4, and then on the back straight into turn 11. We have our drivers lined up to start the formation lap. But those are the 3 big overtakings. Those for those people watching Formula 1 a couple of weeks ago. Let's not forget, down into turn 10, the Alonso maneuver, we can call it, is another big hot point for overtakes.
And the formation lap is underway, so we can review the grid from top to bottom, starting with Thomas Harvey, who secured that pole position. Maciej Gila alongside. Frelick is 3rd, so that's fine, and Dragoon 4th. Roszak and Mayer alongside each other on row 3, and then Meunier and Gut teammates. Or not teammates, sorry, no, very similar looking cars there in 7th and 8th. Watson and Klont in the bottom of the top 10. Russo and Zubinski 11th and 12th. Then we have Lucchini, Quint, Lahou, the aforementioned Mr. Unlucky, and Wopke Hoekstra. Then hoping to get into the points paying positions, we have Nisio, Hamming, Guzovski, and Koenig. The remainder of the top 20 down, we've Martin, Volkanov, De Lera and Fuentes. And the final four, we have Van der Smissen and Voice together for Santen after there was a driver swap for them previously, and Miram completes the grid with Furry, I think it was. Sorry, it's a Federico Marino on his own there in 29, so yeah, my apologies for that.
I'm actually interested to see what Bobby Vakrinov and Carlos Martin can do starting from outside the top 20, because they look like they had some decent pace. Carlos Martin in practice, Bobby Vakrinov, I remember showing some decent pace at Imola 2 weeks ago, so those are a couple of drivers to watch out for. And let's not forget as well, Amari Watson, Menno Clont, Vincent Gutt starting from the back end of the top 10. Big dark horses for this race.
Yeah, there is more opportunities for the drivers looking to make gains, as we discussed in the build-up. Imola is so narrow, so tricky, that you have to follow your opponents for the majority of the lap, and then you've got one real opportunity for a DRS attack. But here at Bahrain, much more open, 21st century facility, and the drivers now getting onto the grid, making sure they're lined up properly and all set to go. A very fascinating run down to turn one is promised, but necessarily will it be fulfilled? There we go, final driver. That's Marino, of course, getting set. So we can now get the lights lit up. And here we go, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, the hold, and they're away. Green, green, green. Can Harvey maintain that pole position ahead of my prediction of Gila? Oh, it's going to be close. There is Gila on the inside. Freilich takes the outside, and Freilich's going to sweep it. Freilich takes second place here, Yousuf. Great move.
Really good start as well for Bin-Suhayl to take the lead. Thomas Harvey just did not get a good getaway from pole position, and now Bin-Suhayl has a really big opportunity to try to stretch out a lead. There's a bit of battling happening down into turn 4, but very nicely everyone does keep it clean, does keep it sensible, as now we're going to have a couple of side-by-side action heading into the slalom.
Yeah, I think Dragoon was involved in the incident. I just see on the corner of my second screen he has dropped all the way to 29th. Yeah, it is a quite substantial change just beneath the podium. Rorschach in 4th position will love... Oh, the time slipper for Mayer. That's Jack Mayer, I believe.
You can see the rear end coming out just as he threw his car through turn 9, just didn't have it stable as he got onto the brakes to turn 10, so Jack Mayer takes a big hit, drops well down the order, might not even be inside the top 15 now. If he can squeeze his way back into the top 15, he'll be in a great spot though for the second race of the day, so still a lot to fight for Mayer.
Yeah, absolutely no need to give up just yet. The car is intact, but hopefully his spirit will carry on for the remainder of the race. It is only lap 1, but Harvey sticking to his guns. He maintains that pole position, but Freilich's move at the outside of turn 1 caught the Build Sim guys pretty much out, and Rorschach following along his countryman and teammate there. So very good start for Watson as well. Watson was outside the top 10 now. He's in P7 for NetRex. So his teammate Martin will just hope for a point at this stage in the first stint.
I don't think Omari Watson was outside the top 10. I think he might have been starting in P9 at worst.
Oh yeah, it's just
P10.
Yeah, right.
Now
P9,
Carlos
sorry.
Martin having a look up the inside of Worky Hextra, still going to be side by side, gives Hextra a little squeeze on the exit of turn 4, gets the drive though, and gets ahead down into turn 5.
Yeah, nicely done there by Martin, and Hoekstra will hope to defend now. Volkanov is closing him down. Munier in P5 for TCS Off Racing. They will be disappointed with their showing in the first round, but there is plenty to play for now. Rorschach has to be wary of what's going on behind him. Obviously, he wants to combine his team ethics, make sure he defends the double score that Build Sim have worked for so far. but DRS will become active in this next lap. So this is where you can really see some of the drivers playing their particular strategies.
Freilich has been able to stay within a second of Thomas Harvey, and that is critical, although Freilich has almost pulled a second ahead of Ben-Suhayl. So the top two might just be in a case of running away with this race, and they may be battling towards the end of it. Thomas Harvey sets the best lap time of the race, and Ben-Suhayl is right on the cusp of dropping outside of the DRS zone.
Yeah, so here we go with Nicio. He is trying to make his way past Lucchini. Or Guzovski could have a go here. Yeah, Guzovski sweeps ahead on the outside line out of turn 3, but he has to, he slots in before turn 4. So that is a very smart move, has to be said. And the Hyperion car takes 14th.
Good move from Guzovski up into P14, and now he can try to close in down to the Alpha Delta duo of Federico Russo and Mirko Lucchini, as our field makes its way down onto the back straight towards turn 11. You can see Szymon Freilich using up all of this curb on the entry into turn 11. And one of the big things to remember when you use the curb is it does cause a little bit of extra wear on the tyres. And if you've ever driven some of these cars, in my case, using the Academy cars and even the Formula Sprint cars, it's so easy for these tyres to go. If you make one little mistake, you get a bit too hard on the brakes, throw the car in a bit too much, you get flat spots on these tyres, and the flat spots don't go away, and you can get so much vibration through your steering wheel, especially if you've got it set to a rather high force feedback level as I do, and then the whole wheel is just juddering around on a straight. So Szymon Freilich will have to be careful on those tyres, or maybe he's just planning to hit a little bit earlier. Either way, our top 3 starting to stretch away from the rest of the field. There's Alex Lahou having a very nice move up the inside of Mike Quinn for the final spot in the top 10.
Yeah, we'll see if those flat spots are causing some of our leaders any trouble. On board with Quint for a moment, and his tyres should be in good shape, the harder compound. If you pit now, or if this queue of cars just continues to be stuck together, then yeah, pitting on the earlier pit window would be certainly a highly dangerous strategy. It could get you stuck in traffic for a lap or two longer than necessary. Traffic not really a problem for our race leader Harvey. What he has to do now is watch out for Freilich, match him or batter him as often as he can. And Hila is still staying tightly in third place. He did set the best lap time last go around at 1:37.8. So yeah, just my prediction for the race 1 glory has certainly got something to play for. So if he can carry on this speed, then he should be able to give Freilich something to think about.
Well, at least your top 3 are in the top 3 in some order. I've got my first and third are correct, but my second is all the way down in P24, so I don't really know how we judge this one.
No, yeah, it was just Mayer on lap 1 getting 360 at the double apex, and that will cause him certainly great frustration that it happened. An attack here for Russo. Quint, we were following along with him last lap around, but Russo may have seen the DRS give him an opportunity. Now another shot of DRS here before the certainly very entertaining turn 4. Got to avoid the track limits of the alternate layout, the GT layout for that direction. So Russo for Alpha Delta is keeping up with Quint. Quint was very strong in Imola, and he is P2 in the championship for his consistency. And the top 3 continue to hold station.
And they'll continue to hold station for quite a while. I doubt we'll see any real changes in positions. There was a brief yellow flag out in sector 2, but that has now been dealt with, and these top 3 are just going to stay in their order, and at some point someone is going to push on their set of tyres, get a pit stop in and look for an undercut, or maybe some are going to be looking to save their tyres and just to make sure that they can get overcut to gain position. For bin-Suhayl, he's in quite a nice spot because he's got Patrick Rorschach behind him, so he's under no real threat from his teammate, and he won't feel too worried about losing out time through the pit stop strategy. For Thomas Harvey and Shimon Freilich, though, they will have that slight little niggling doubt about when exactly they have to pit.
Yeah, they probably have to make their minds up at a moment's notice and make sure that they have not put themselves at risk of losing their opportunity to pit to make their opportunities count. Following along, we now can look at the battle for the last point. Hamming has taken the position, but now in the background, Martin has got a 3 wide opportunity, but he has to back out. Hamming struggling to keep the grip, but he does hold it. So that means Nisio has made the final gain here. Rowan versus HGP versus Netrex. That's a very exciting prospect.
Good letter battle between these three. Frank Hamming, of course, my favourite driver, sporting the number 73 car number, is coming under pressure now from Carlos Martin, heading down into turn 9 and 10. No Alonso manoeuvre, though, from Martin. I would love to see one of those overtakes at some point, though, during this race. The question now becomes, can Nizio pull away from the duo behind him now that he has some speed?
It'll just be very encouraging for Nizio if he can pull it out. He is looking strong in sector 2. We'll see if it is confirmed by the timing delta. Yes, absolutely, he has gained about 3/10 over Hamming, but Hamming will be invited back into play with DRS. More yellow flags just indicated, but no immediate trouble. You can see more battles just in the ultimate background there in the run down to turn 1. So we'll see if Hamming can claw back that deficit he has to Nizio. Martin has to stay alert, though. If anything were to happen, he'd just clamber into Hamming. So Hamming does have a bit of a step of oversteer, does catch it, though. So maybe it's something to do with the setup. We have seen him wobble around a bit here, Yousuf.
Watch the switch back now from Hamming. How early can he get on to the power versus Nizio? Not quite early enough. He's going to be right behind Nizio now, heading through 5, 6 and 7, but in the dirt here. Can't quite stick to the rear bumper of Nizio. They can't put him under pressure heading down into turn 8, which is probably the slowest corner on the circuit, maybe even slower than turn 10.
Yeah, it probably is the slowest corner of the lot. So Katspar continuing to defend himself there in 15th. Back to the leaders we go. Freilich is keeping within a 10th or so every lap to Harvey. So it is exceptionally tight between these three. Rorschach in 4th. Started to lose ground to his teammates. So Munier in 5th could potentially break up the build sim. The building for, the block work for them, I should say. So anything that Harvey does, Shimon is able to keep up with him. So if he is planning an attack, it could be very opportune to do it.
Mario Watson's been really closing in and has finally now made a move on Vincent Good and has made his way up into P6. Can now try to close in onto Loic Mernier as Mateusz Zubinski having a battle with Menno Klont. Gets the better of Klont and makes his way up into P8. Klont can't fight back down in to turn 4. But keep your eyes out now for Omari Watson as he hunts down Munier for P5 as we've got a battle for P16.
Yeah, so the shoe is on Nizio's foot here. A little bit of a close call there with Martin. So Hamming has made the move back into 15th. Martin has to stay patient. He must be getting a bit hot under his helmet, knowing that he can see these drivers in front of him battling and he can't get any satisfaction himself. There's definitely no chance for Alonso dive here. Has to line him up again later in the lap. And now you see, yes, Munier has indeed made the move. Rorschach has lost his 4th position that he's held since Freilich's move on the opening lap. But there is plenty of time for a counter-attack.
Patrick Rojak now is going to be falling into the waiting arms of Omari Watson, who is probably the quickest of this quartet of carts. And then from Mernier, it is nearly 3 seconds up to the front three. But we do still have a long way to go in this race. We're barely 1/3 of the way through. For Omari Watson, he's not going to be able to find a way through on Rojak this time round, because Rojak has a DRS courtesy of Mernier and really closes in on under-braking into turn 1.
Yeah, it does give that a concertina effect, under-braking, and then when the power gets reapplied, the spread appears again. So Rojak is doing everything he can after losing his position. Watson, we know what he's capable of on his day, and he's making further gains from his qualifying time, and a top 5 from where he started, just outside or just inside the top 10. That would be highly encouraging, especially with the reverse grid. He could stay in about 5th or 6th again and have a go at a podium.
DRS once again then for Patrick Rojak on the straight leading into turn 11. Just needs to make sure he can stay within touching distance of Loic Mernier. He's currently 7 tenths behind, so he's slowly dropping back, but not too fast that he's going to be coming under threat from Omari Watson this time around.
Yeah, it's further waiting for Watson to do. So yeah, we carry on with the onboard. Rojak's plugging away as hard as he can, and yeah, you can see just the acceleration from Munoz there. It does leave Rojak perhaps a bit more in the clutches of Watson. And now we can see another attempt for Freilich to dispatch of Harvey. It's been no fortune for him so far. Everything that he's tried, he hasn't had a chance to really go side by side. He is looking, it's not happening just yet. So yeah, 3-way battle for the victory. Here's Quint for Multiforce on the outside, and he pull it back in against Mr. Lehu. Just the camber of the corner does give Lehu the chance to defend, but someone's got to blink here, Yousuf. Who's going to do it?
Neither of them are going to blink. They're going to go side by side all the way through the slalom, but Alex Lehu just about holds on to the position. And let's not forget that for Mike Quint, he is running on the harder compound of tyres. That yellow sidewall that you can see, that's not medium tyres like in Formula 1, it's the harder compound tyre. Well, it is, I guess, harder than the softs anyway, but it is the hard set of tyres. So these tyres are going to be coming towards him as this race does progress, or at least as this first stint of the race progresses. So Mike Quint starting to really feel these harder tyres are coming alive.
Yeah, that's the benefit of a strategy on show, and if you can carry on until the final actions of the race, that would give him a great chance with the softer tyres after his pit, or indeed and he goes to the hards and just tries and equalise with what he's got. That would be very promising. Freilich still looking to perhaps give Harvey something of a shock if he is just trying to feint a move. Yeah.
Kubinski's having a battle with Gut heading down into turn 1. He's just made a pass, and now Gut looking for switchback.
And now look for Gut. He can try again. He's gonna get all the slipstream he can. Kubinski defends for the inside line, and the switchback. Oh, it could be on here. Yes, Gut has now got the inside for turn 5. Watch out for contact. He does stay tight to the apex. Kubinski blocking the middle of the road now, so another opportunity. So is this the best chance for an Alonso move? It could certainly offer the opportunity. No, it looks like is blocking the line there for Matthews. So now look for Gut.
Really good driving from Kubinski. I don't know if you can get a replay, but there was a battle between Mike Quint and Alex Lehu heading down into turn 4. Mike Quint has been able to find a way through on Alex, and now can try to hunt down his teammate Menno Kron for P9. And don't forget, in the next stint, oh no, that's an off. Oh, Good somehow avoids running into the back of Zubinski. Zubinski's going to lose a position and is now going to be coming under pressure from Menno Klont, if not into the final corner, definitely into turn 1.
Yeah, so here's Malta Force. They've got their first driver on track in the ideal situation here. Zubinski's tyres lit up with that slide, a fantastic catch, but Klont not close enough for turn 1. Calm as you like move. He's got to try again for turn 4 and really put the Hyperion driver to the sword. Here's the opportunity for more DRS, and again it looks like Zubinski's actually consolidated himself after that error/save.
Zubinski had DRS himself, as here is Carlos Martin trying to defend from Nizio. These two have been battling for a long period of time, but this time Nizio looks like he's got the job done up the inside into turn 4. Martin's going to hold it around the outside, but gets squeezed completely by Nizio. And maybe Nizio yields, know that he made a mistake. Either way, Carlos Martin holds on to P15.
Yeah, Nizio must have known if he tried to force the issue, because both cars were not on the racing line, so he does have to back out. Pit stops had begun. I just saw in the corner of my eye were drivers in the pits ready for service, so we'll be probably watching some of the mid-pack and the leaders get prepared soon.
Menno Klont makes a mistake heading down into turn 11 and says, you know what, I'm going to yield and allow Mike Quinn through. And Alex Lahou says, you're letting Mike through, I'm going to follow through as well. Gets the job done on Menno, but Menno now looking to have a go up the inside into the final corner. That would have been audacious, to say the least.
Yeah, would have offered the chance to DRS. So now there you go, there's the call to the pit lane. On board with Quint. He will go for that move, ideally, on Zubinski, and he's got it. So Watson, Lahou, Klont and Guzovsky all pit to make sure they can now get to the end on their preferred set of tyres. So yeah, all change in the battle for the top 10, and a long halt there for Lahou. Can he get out? Yes, he does get the better of Klont and Guzovsky. Yeah, they'll have Voice, that is Kevin Voice, who will be on the different strategy ahead of them, so that's a good chance for the Santan team to get a shot on the cameras.
Bit of a mistake for Mashi-Hyla on the previous lap, and lost over half a second to Szymon Frelick, so has dropped outside of DRS, and we'll see though whether Mashi can still just tag along with these front two. You can see him in the background in that red Bill Sim Filipino racing car. But I'm expecting Thomas Harvey and Szymon Frelick to be pitting relatively soon. We'll see though whether Mashi-Hyla has to pit, whether he maybe just flat spotted his tyres with whatever mistake happened on the previous lap.
Yeah, it wouldn't be the worst idea in the world for him to pit maybe this lap or next lap, but as a matter of fact, it's Harvey who will attempt an over on Frelick. Pitting first from the lead. It's always so difficult to know that if, your opponents, they can react to whatever you do. But yeah, Harvey feels the need to get himself ready for the second stint, just on 50%, just shy of it, and now he's got to watch out. Oh gosh almighty, that was so close. That was Roshak, I believe.
Roshak.
Yeah,
so I don't know about you, but I think that's an unsafe release. If you had to give an unsafe release to anyone, I think it's an unsafe release. But Thomas Harvey, oh dearie me, makes contact now with, what's that?
That's Martin. Martin's just carrying on his stint, and the pit exit is just before the entry to turn 1, so Harvey would have been unsighted, and all of his work is under massive threat, so his chance at gambling has been undone with the mixture of traffic in the pits and traffic on the circuit itself.
So this is going to work out really well for Szymon Frelick. I think if he pits, he's going to definitely come out ahead of Thomas Harvey and Carlos Martin. So this is just really unfortunate for Harvey, coming up the pits alongside Patrick Rojak, and then that incident with Carlos Martin into turn 1. Who's that for? I have absolutely no idea. I'd have to have another look at it, but Thomas Harvey is not going to get past Carlos Martin until turn 1, and I'm fully expecting Szymon Frelick to come into the pits this time.
Yeah, so Frelick will respond, and Harvey is going to be panicking a little bit, but Martin is just minding his business, driving his own race. So Harvey will just have to hope the DRS boost will give him a little bit of time back. But Gila goes the longest of the lead pack. So we'll see what Harvey can muster here. He will need to get past Martin at some stage on his better tyres.
That's Frelick already out of the pit, so Frelick is going to come out in front of this battle, and he might even give, much to Harvey's dismay, DRS to... Nope, no DRS. So thankfully for Harvey, he might still be able to have a go heading into turn 4, but while there is no DRS available for Carlos Martin, there is most certainly slipstream.
Yeah, that is the way for Harvey to get back into the lead, with its advantage to Frelick, and there'll be a hat-trick if he can keep up this running, and Gila does not get the most superb of overcuts. But yeah, Martin, he's got his chance to show what he's made of, but Harvey must get through. It really has to be now to get Frelick back while the tyres are still relatively fresh. So yeah, it's not going to happen. So Frelick should get outside of that DRS window and give himself the best opportunity to become a triple race winner.
This is going to be really close though for bin-Suhayl, who is surely coming into pits this time around. He is indeed in the pit lane, and when you think about how far Szymon Frelick is ahead of Thomas Harvey, it is nearly 2 seconds, which is pretty much the gap between Frelick and bin-Suhayl before Frelick came into the pits. So if bin-Suhayl got a really good in-lap, this could work out absolutely beautifully for him, because Carlos Martin is still keeping Thomas Harvey at bay.
Yeah, this is so helpful. Quint is among pitters, as is Hamming, and indeed Gila comes out as well behind Martin.
Well,
so yeah, he's now behind Martin. So Harvey now through, and there's chance to race for the victory. It's the certainly the look of the green really for Frelick. He was able to outsmart Harvey in some regards, and Harvey just had a bit of bad luck as well on top of that.
Mike Quint now battling with Vincent Gutt. So Mike Quint, is he on the soft tyres? He is indeed. So that was a very early pit stop from Mike Quint off the hard tyres onto the soft tyres, but he should have a significant pace advantage of all of those around him. And I wouldn't even be surprised if we see Mike Quint battling with Loic Mounier for P6 or whatever effective racing that is. I think that's P4 by the end of this race. So still a good opportunity for some big points from Walter Forsby.
Yeah, it's certainly Mounier and Watson, they'll be the targets for Quint if he can pull out even more time. This should be a dependable set of points for Multiforce, currently third in the championship. Yeah, it would be great if Quint can get past Gutt. So yeah, Hamming actually is carrying on. So yeah, Hamming is trying to go over the 50% mark. Now he pits. So yeah, my mistake from earlier. So our leaders should now almost slot into place, because Martin wants to keep going and going. So yeah, very good stuff for Martin.
Mistake from Vincent Gutt on the exit of the final corner, just gets on to the curbing, unsettles the car, and that allows Mike Quint to get through before he even has to really open his DRS rear wing. Now, while we've been looking at the front, there has been movement happening further down the field from the other TOP esports car, Jack Mayer, who, if we remember, was down in P24. He is now up to P17, and he's just made a move for P16 as he finds a way through on Federico Marino in the, I believe that is the F-Lab car.
Yeah, the F-Lab team, yeah, they're stuck down the bottom of the championship thereabouts. So good segue there, Yousuf. Mayer carrying on his rescue mission, but the point for 15th He's going to have to claw back 4 seconds on the interval to Hamming. Certainly within reach, but he's got to pull out his very best laps in order to do it.
Well, 39.4 last time round for Mayer. For Hamming, I think he must have made a mistake because it was a 42.1. Okay, I think Hamming just came out of the pit, so Hamming will be on a fresh set of soft tyres, in fact. So it might be a case of the pair of them trying to close in to Kozowski in 14th. Now, while for Jack Mayer that 1 point won't mean much, it does mean a lot in terms of the fact he's in the realms of picking up a pole for the reverse.
Yeah, so that's certainly a way to keep the drivers fully engaged, to make sure that they have a chance to compete for even more points. So Martin finally elects to pit, so he has really put in a fantastic stint. Harvey won't be too disappointed to have him well and truly out of the way now. It was a solid drive for Martin. He kept it clean. We know he was in a strong battle with Hamming and Nizio earlier on, so we'll see if he can get a chance to fight for the point as well alongside Mayer. So yeah, he will come out in 16th, just behind Mayer. So yeah, there was another pit stop as well, so yeah, that does lift Mayer into the 15th now.
I think as well, Carlos Martin came out just in front of Jack Mayer, and then Jack Mayer may have got Martin on the exit of turn 1 or into turn 1 in some way, shape or form, but Carlos Martin on those fresh, soft tyres is going to be posing a bit of an issue for Jack Mayer on what are already some used hard tyres, but the pair of them can work together to close in onto Frank Hamming. 39.0 last time round for Jack Mayer, which was half a second quicker than Mateusz Kozowski in P13, so even if he can't close into Hamming, he's definitely closing in on Kozowski.
Yeah, that is very true. So we'll monitor those lap times for you as the race concludes. But Watson here has truly shown great race pace, and with the final 10 laps to go, he could potentially take best of the rest away from Meunier and put Net Rex into a very, very respectable 4th position. So Watson as well is strong in the championship with consistency, name of his game, but if he can build his way up to podium finishes later into the season and possibly even into the reverse grid race 2. Well, let's check out Hamming. He is challenging Kozowski on his outside now, trying again for the run down to turn 4. He's super close, so yeah, Kozowski should now react, stay where he is and be alert to a counter-attack. Hamming has the initiative for turn 4, and he can then block the track with smart exiting of that corner. So yeah, beautiful move, it has to be said there, Yousuf.
Frank Hamming on the fresh, soft tyres versus the harder tyres further down the order. Jack Mayer has lost out on the position to Carlos Martin, so Jack Mayer just cannot race against these softer tyres, these better compound of tyres and fresher tyres as well, which just shows the advantage that Hamming had over Kozowski. So now Jack Mayer needs to get his head down and try to close into Kozowski, but Kozowski is 5 seconds up the road. You can see the gap visually on the screen, and Jack Mayer might be coming under pressure now from Nizio, who is also on soft tyres.
Yeah, so the hard to soft strategy is definitely paying off. Lucchini for Alpha Delta is going to try and take that 10th position away from Zabinski, with Menno Klont on the horizon as well if needed. So we'll see now if the DRS can allow for a turn 1 overtake. They're not as common as I would have believed. Yeah, here we go, using all of that inside line does Mateusz Z. Now can Lucchini convert it into an attack? No, he does back out. It does allow Klont to close in a bit further, but yeah, it could be an action replay of what we saw in the battle just behind these guys. No, as a matter of fact, Zabinski has got a good exit out of turn 3 and carries on his merry way, but it is high pressure situation here on the equal tyres between these guys. They're all on the equal tyre compound.
fastest man on track right now is not Mike Quint on the soft tyres, it's not Frank Hemming on the soft tyres, it is Carlos Martin almost into the 37 and still putting in green sector times. So really watch out for Carlos Martin as he hunts down Guzovsky and Hemming in 14th and 13th respectively. Amari Watson still on the tail end of Loic Meunier, and Mike Quint now within 2 seconds of Patrick Rojak, almost within that DRS zone with 8 laps to go.
Yeah, so there's still lots of competition still to be performed, so yeah, anything is still at play. So yeah, the lead for Freilich, it's falling, but it's not quite sub 1 second. Yeah, it is really this battle among the top 10 that is worth a watch. And Martin continues his fine work on the soft tyres. We know what a fantastic quick driver he can be on the short-term pace. We know obviously he would have dearly loved to have been higher on the grid to possibly carry on this form. So another outstanding lap time, 1:37.794, and Guzovsky has to be put on real alert here, otherwise he's going to be snapped up before he can really do anything about it.
Thomas Harvey has also been able to squeeze his way within a second of Szymon Freilich. Has been chipping away at the TOP Esports driver for the last 5 laps and has finally got back within a second, lapping in the mid-38s are both Freilich and Harvey. Also Mike Quint last time round taking out nearly a second out of his deficit. Patrick Rojak now within a second and is lapping faster than Omari Watson and Loic Meunier. So if you are a Motorsport fan, you really want Meunier and Watson to be battling hard so that Mike Quint and Patrick Rojak can close in to the battle.
Yeah, this is a great opportunity for Quint as well. So yeah, his strategy, he was the first driver on track when he had the harder compound tyres on. Now he gets another chance to benefit from his pit call. You'll see Watson is trying to give his team Netrex a chance at real points, but Meunier following along. And now here's Quint. Can he put Rojak down to 7th? Yeah, it seems it's going to happen sooner rather than later. Maybe not straight away though, Yousuf.
Early on the brakes, just looks for the switchback. He knows that Rojak is going to defend hard, and he gets such a good run coming out of turn 2. Sweeps over to the outside, and these soft tyres are going to have so much more grip heading into turn 4. The question is, does he hold it around the outside, or does he look for the switchback? He's going to go for the switchback, holds it tight, but can't find any way through on Patrick Rojak, and this is going to be so frustrating for Mike Quint, because he knows he has the pace to close into Watson and Meunier up the road.
Yeah, exactly, Yousuf. He's got the prime advantage, but it is the case of he has to overtake his opponent fair and square. He can't just carry on making the gains now that he has the roadblock in front of him. But here's another DRS opportunity. Yeah, it's just the case in the equal machinery, you have to really nail it out of each and every corner. And yeah, like we saw earlier with Martin against Harvey, 2 drivers on different strategies can actually become very evenly matched when it doesn't make much logical sense. The sliding
for the rear air there for Patrick Rojak. Mike Quint is just going to be focusing on getting a good run out of the final corner. Duo is now 3.5 seconds behind Omari Watson and Loic Meunier. Loic Meunier actually now over a second ahead of Watson, so really starting to get everything out of his tyres. But here comes Mike Quint once more.
So take 2 for Quint. Has he got even more speed? Yeah, he's got to get the overspeeding he has, but Rojak won't give it up just yet. He's going to put a nose in. Oh, that is as close as you could possibly dare. But at last, Quint gained 6th place, and his charge against Watson has got to begin immediately, so no time to celebrate.
Carlos Martin just found a way through on Matthew Guzovsky as well, up into P14 for Carlos Martin. He's 5 seconds though behind Frank Hamming, so I don't think he's going to be able to close in, although Frank Hamming might be able to have a go for P12, might even be able to have a go in this battle that leads all the way up to Alex Lahu in P9.
Now the lead battles become alive again. Harvey has chipped away at Freilich and has just 0.6 of a second more to find. DRS will help him when we reach the start-finish straight. A bit of lap traffic could be a factor into the conclusion of the race. But yeah, Harvey has got the bit between his teeth and he wants the win back. He knows the misfortunes that befell him on the pit lane and the pit exit have cost him time, but he knows in his heart of hearts that he can win the race with 5 to go. So yeah, I wouldn't believe that Freilich has this sewn up just yet.
And Szymon Freilich will be starting to feel the pressure, but Freilich will be well accustomed to driving in these situations. Very quick driver, very experienced driver. Same for Thomas Harvey, Super League driver as well last year. And Thomas is just going to be thinking about, okay, where do I overtake Szymon? And he's going to have a go. He's going to have a feel of where he's quicker than Freilich, how Freilich likes to defend. And whenever you're in these battles, the best time to overtake is on the last lap of the race. If you make a move on the last lap, there is no way for the driver you're battling to bite back at you. Zubinski is right on the back of Alex Lahu as well in the battle for P9, so there's battles happening all over the place, but we're going to stay and look at this battle between Freilich and Harvey for the race leader. Freilich looks to make it 3 race wins from 3 races to start off the GPVWC season.
Yeah, this would be the real signal of intent. It's all well and good having one exemplary round, but if you can do it twice, then that really goes and puts your rivals pretty much to real embarrassment sometimes. Like, just the chances to succeed like this are not very common, especially in such a competitive grid here in FS1. Sector 2 definitely favour Freilich there. He did get 0.3 back, but indeed the DRS will equalise things again as we reach 4 to go. Yeah, so Harvey does gain a little bit of time, and Mayer continuing a bit of a struggle, unfortunately, after that mistake on lap 1. Nizio has got his better tyres put to use now, but let's see if Mayer has a chance to repeat some of those great side-by-side battles we've seen into turn 1.
So we're getting to the point now in the second stint where the soft tyres are going to be losing their edge and the hard tyres are going to be coming back into fruition. So Mayer has a slipstream, he's got the DRS as well. Nizio is going to go defensive and Mayer will look to the outside into P1.
Yeah, Nizio backs out for now, and yeah, the wobble out of turn 2 into 3. Yeah, that's put Nizio down to 17th. So, yeah, lovely execution of the move there for Mayer. Grzowski still about 2.5 seconds clear of Mayer, so that battle may not occur, but this battle certainly is on the cusp of getting very, very feisty. Harvey is still equal enough to Freilich, and we'll see. Again, there's another split there, just about in Freilich's favour there, about 500ths or so. But this could be the back marker giving Freilich a get out of jail card. But yeah, it's so close now, dipping into the half a second territory. But yeah, it is a real test of Harvey's patience. Has 3 to go. He has dwindling opportunities, but one chance, as you said, Yousuf, can occur on the last lap, and then there's no decisive chance for a counter-attack. So we'll see if Harvey can do anything into this second split coming up very soon. Yeah, looks like he's got the car in command, but he's got to make that side-by-side opportunity.
Frank Hamming is close to within a second of Lucchini in P11. Carlos Martinez closed in on to Meno Quanto. A couple of battles happening further down the order. And one of the cool things here at Bahrain for Thomas Harvey is the fact that you can send people from really far back and just try to get the car stopped. And hey, if you don't get it stopped, you get undercut. That's the worst thing that can happen, as one of the lap cars gets well out of the way of the leading viewer, and you can see Thomas Harvey really throwing the car into turn 10 and just trying to get the rear end to swap out ends with him so he can get the car rotated and get on the power as early as possible.
Yeah, so now that element is out of the minds of these race leaders, but certainly not out of the mind here. Yes, a fantastic battle. Lehu is getting himself a chance at a top 10, but Zabinski doesn't want to have P10 next to his name. He wants to carry on in 9th. He's going to go a bit high out of turn 11, so watch out for Lehu, sticking firmly on the outside, wheel to wheel, and there's just absolute brittle determination here. Can Zabinski hang on? But watch out for the guys behind Lucchini and Hamming as well.
Hamming in particular on those soft tyres is really one to watch out for. In the back of the screen you can see Menaclont and Carlos Martin, but this battle for P9 between these four is absolutely fantastic, with 2 laps to go, snaking down the start-finish straight as they try to break slipstream for each other. Zabinski was behind Lehu, has made a move, and now Lehu trying to fight back heading into turn 1.
Yeah, this would be absolutely riveting if Lehu can make this work, but unfortunately, just the nature of turn 2 can unsettle the car if it's cutting the apex too tight. Lucchini has a look at Lehu, but Hamming, of course, if he gets a look at that inside line, then Lucchini will be in severe trouble. Yeah, I think Hamming is just staying patient. He knows he has this lap and a half to go, so there is time to make one more place up, or maybe 2. But this lead battle continues to mesmerize, and we'll see if Harvey has a way through to clinch that win from pole position.
It's all got to be on the last lap of the race. He's not that close to Freilich right now, half a second behind Freilich. He's trying to break the slipstream, having his one weave down the straight back onto the racing line, less than half a second, 4/10 through the final corner. One more lap for Thomas Harvey to have a go at Shimon Freilich and break the TOP Esports win streak.
Yeah, the toe has been broken once, and now this is Harvey's got. Oh, he's going to go for the dive bomb. Oh, it could have been risky there if he lost the back end, for example. But he is very, very close. Freilich has got to defend and stick to the inside line. Harvey has to pull out. Don't send it, says the rear wing. But Harvey will ignore that command, and he's going to be dragged to the edge of turn 4. And unfortunately, turns 5 through 7 won't be any more generous. So the English
compromised, though. He's compromised through the chicane, and that's going to bring Harvey really close to Freilich heading into turn 8. And maybe we have the possibility of the Alonso mover down into turn 10. Still 1 DRS zone to go.
Unfortunately, Harvey's too far back, but this is the key, the DRS zone. Harvey will have the go, and now we'll see what is possible. Yeah, one more weave and one more return. He uses the runoff area. He's got to make sure he times his turn in properly, and he does. Harvey, though, has the chance at the final camber here. It doesn't look like it, but yeah, another chance to cause a bit of intimidation. Good exit for Freilich, though. He's going to try that trick again. Harvey has to follow along, but it's not going to happen, Yousuf. Can Freilich guide it through the final corner and secure the hat-trick to begin a 2023 FS1 campaign of absolute dreams? He has it. Freilich to the line, will win race 1 in Bahrain. Absolutely brilliant. He uses the bit of luck, and he has succeeded. So well done to Freilich. Harvey will be bitterly disappointed, but Gila P3 looks to be in his control, and Quint versus Watson concludes there. It is Watson matching his race number, and there's Lehu. I don't believe it, Yousuf. What on earth has happened?
A tame Lehu curse strikes this time. Carlos Martin found a way through, not only Hamming, but Lucchini and Lehu. I'm guessing Lucchini and Lehu had some contact into the final corner. Zabinski will take P9, Rojak P7, Vincent Gut P8, Mike Quint almost getting Amari Watson just needed one more lap. But Loic Mounier, can we have a round of applause for him, because that is a really, really good drive for P4 for the TCS off driver.
Yeah, I certainly give full credit there to Mounier. Absolutely fabulous drive there. We saw several drivers wanting that 4th place, but Mounier did a very solid job and pulled out that result, giving himself a great confidence boost for himself and his team that really could do with it. They didn't have much success in the Imola round, so there we go. Freilich will be beaming with joy there, securing that perfect start to the season. Obviously, he would have loved the 2 pole positions, but from 3rd place, he rose to the top and made our predictions look a little bit foolish, Yousuf.
I mean, to be honest, your prediction was really good. Your top 3, you had all of the 3 right drivers in. You just had Harvey and Healer the wrong way around.
Yeah, I suppose you can put it that way. But yeah, we can summarise the race one more time. Freilich, Harvey and Healer on the podium. Mounier, sensational drive there for 4th. Watson, Quint, Bolshak, Gut, Zubinski and Martin. There you go, top 10 for Martin after all, making use of his strategy. Lucchini, and then again Lahu. Oh, I don't know what else to say. He will get some points at least for 12th. Klont, Hamming and Gazowski complete the top 15 for point. Mayer's lap 1 error will come back to bite him, but he has another chance in race 2 to get back onto the championship order. Nizio, Russo, Dragoon and Koenig for the top 20. So yeah, Dragoon was another name who had a good qualifying, but it fell apart. And then the final column, we have Volkanov, Hoekstra, Voice, Miram, Fuentes, Marino, Van der Smissen. But the Rene Butler Motorsport duo, Delera and Furia, both DNF very early on.
Really, really fun racing out there. We'll see where the reverse grid position will be from. I'm sure everyone will be wanting it to be around them, but a really, really fun first race of the day. And the top 5 all from different teams as well, so that's absolutely awesome to see for a Constructors' Championship point of view.
Yeah, absolutely. The variety at the top is certainly the name of the game. It'll keep things very interesting further into the campaign, as we'll be looking forward to Melbourne, of course, in the next round. But yeah, the 19-lap second race will be coming up very soon. So we shall take this moment for a quick break, and we'll bring that to you as soon as we can. So yeah, stay tuned, everybody. And very warm welcome back to Formula Sprint 1 coverage here on GPVWC on YouTube. I hope everyone is well prepared to go again after a certainly remarkable first race here, Yousuf. So it was the case of Freilich kept up with all of his challengers, and then when the moment came, Harvey unlucky during and after his pit stop, and that was very, very costly. But he fought back as hard as he could. So with the reverse grid set, we should be in for another wonderful contest. So yeah, just Yousuf, you have the number handy for a reverse grid?
I do indeed. P10, which means that the late stormer of Carlos and Martin, who was able to take advantage of a certain incident between, I believe it was Alex Lehoux and Matthias Zubinski, I want to say, is going to be finding himself at the front of the field.
Yeah, certainly, at least, yeah, it's definitely, that could definitely be right, Yousuf. So Martin has a chance to convert that opportunity that he earned at the very last corner and potentially get himself on the podium. Still a rookie to FS1. It's certainly an exciting opportunity for him, and now that he has the pole position for Net Rex. His teammate Watson showed what the car was capable of with a strong result in 5th place. So yeah, this is another shake-up that will deliver more drama, I'm absolutely certain of that. And the second warm-up session is just about over now, so we can now look forward to that formation lap.
Very quickly, Eoin.
Yes, go ahead.
Top 3 predictions.
Oh, let's think of it again. So, yeah, Freilich should get another top 2. I'll say he'll be second.
Okay.
Possibly Harvey Redemption. He could get the win. I think Watson could actually get 3rd place. He's about 6th place, so he could definitely work his way up again. So that would be my prediction. Yeah, do you have a prediction yourself there, Yousuf? I think Yousuf just had a small drop in connection there, so we'll just let him get his computer working again. So yeah, he had been pretty faultless there in race 1, so hopefully he can now use this opportunity to catch up and make sure everything's in order again. So he will queue himself in, I'm sure. Yeah, we will bring you that formation lap build up as it comes. Yeah, it is a fascinating prospect to have Martin on the pole position. We know his agility on the track is quite something, but to convert into the finished product is what we want to see from him. So yeah, that'll be a great opportunity. But then Freilich to pull out a quadruple of victories, now that will be quite something. I don't predict it will happen, but yeah, I think the podium, 100% rate of podium finishes will certainly be a realistic possibility. So now our grid is now reset, and we have our lineups as follows: Carlos Martin in reverse grid pole, Matthias Zubinski for Hyperion alongside, Vincent Gutt and Patrick Roszak will be 3rd and 4th. So we have Mike Quint and Amari Watson. They're 2 guys to watch with great experience. Loic Munier and Maciej Hila, they're 7th and 8th. Then our protagonists from race 1, Thomas Harvey in 9th place, now back ahead of Freilich. He will have to do it all again in race 2. That'll be very, very interesting watch. Eoin Lehoux, 11th and 12th, their original finishing positions from the first race. Klont, Hamming, Guzovsky and Mayer there, 13th through 16th, a variety of contenders there. Then we have Rowan GP, 17th and 19th, Nizio and Dragoon, with Russo and Koenig in between in the even numbered slots. Outside the top 20, Volkanov and Hoekstra with Voice and Miram there. And the final 5, we have Fuentes for EP Lab and his teammate Marino alongside in 26th. Van der Smissen 27th. Manuele Delera in 28th. We didn't get to see much for him out of race 1. And Lucia Frilia in 29th. You will hope to also get a further run into the race. So yeah, that's the grid for you now. And they're now into the final sector on their formation lap. So Martin is all on his own here with soft tire. Gila in 8th is also following along there. I believe we have a returning Yousuf. So Yousuf, are you there?
I am indeed. So I didn't hear your predictions, but I'll give mine. Carlos Martin to take the win. Thomas Harvey to take 2nd, but on the last lap ahead of Mike Quinn.
My goodness. To reiterate, I'm thinking Harvey to redeem himself, Freilich 2nd, and Omari Watson 3rd.
Wow. Carlos Martin doubted. Suhayl though, going for those soft tyres just like he did at Imola. Really watch out for him in the first few laps of the race. He's going to have a lot of pace on those soft tyres. He made the strategy work 2 weeks ago. Can he do it again here at Bahrain?
Yeah, it's a whole different challenge for him. Yeah, I do appreciate someone who takes a gamble. I'm not very risky in my own approach to things, but that's all the joy of motorsport. Sometimes the gamblers can sometimes make their opportunities pay off. So now we see the Hamming there, the Butler's car, excuse me, I'm getting confused with Frank Hamming there for HGP. So yeah, the Butler cars lining up at the back of the grid, and we should have the race director setting the lights. Here we go, 3, 4, and 5, and honk, we're off. Can Martin get it done into turn 1? Zabinski lines up alongside, and watch out for Omari Watson deep on the inside line. Zabinski dives for it. Can Martin defend? It doesn't look to be. Got to avoid contact though. Great launch on Rorschach into P3 there. Oh, wheel to wheel, Yousuf.
There, the banging wheels all the way down, and it's practically 3 abreast behind them as they're heading down into turn 4. Martin on the outside of Zabinski carries a lot of speed on the outside of turn 4. A little bit of a wobble on the rear end as he tries to get the traction down. Still side by side into 5, 6, and 7 on cold tyres as well. But Carlos Martin holds on to the lead as the field heads down towards turn 7.
And how about Rorschach? He is on the scene. We know how quick he can be. It was just a little bit disappointment for him dropping down the order a little bit, but he has a chance again. Meunier and Gut side by side between TCS Off and Spark there. So Meunier, who we praised effusively in the first race, now back into the 4th place that he owned in that first run around. Quint 6th, also on the scene. Watch out for him. Gut. This is another fascinating battle on the rise and the crest, still on the power. Our battle for the race 1 protagonist. Harvey is 8th, Freilich 12th.
Yeah, so Shimon Freilich having not the best of starts now behind Jack Mayer, as here comes Mike Quint up the inside of Vincent Gut and begins to make his charge up through the field. Suhayl is really going to be fancying his chances of a podium. Remember, he's on those softer compound of tyres. So is Vincent Gut, by the looks of things. Seem to have the red sidewall, although on my timing screen he does have the harder compound of tyres. And Gut now round the outside of Mike Quint, can't hold on to the position and is forced to yield.
Yeah, it's still wise for the drivers to keep a little bit in reserve because DRS is not yet active. And the shot at the background there, that should be Jack Mayer. Oh, he's been tagged trying to battle Watson, so this is a fall apart, and the advantage to Freilich gaining 2 positions by default. So thank goodness it wasn't any worse for Watson and Mayer.
So Omari Watson and Shimon Freilich having not the best of starts, particularly for Omari Watson, who started this race in 4th place, now outside of the top 10. A bit further down the order, I think that was Frank Hamming and Philip Koenig having a bit of a ding-dong, and now Nizio on the outside coming under pressure from Russo. Their wheels pretty much interlocking through turn 10.
Kick up of smoke from the drivers in the mid-20 positions. Hopefully that's not a terminal failure. Nizio, Kaspar, Nizio is defending from Russo, with Koenig now the driver, who was throwing in some great dives. I saw his Frisland car taking some very risky moves, but Martin has so far done his opening stint a great favour here. Zabinski thought he could take the lead. It wasn't going to happen, but he has set the fastest lap. We will confirm. Yeah, Munier now takes it. So yeah, that third lap, the fastest lap, could be anybody's game. But we'll see if Zabinski can get Martin into an attack. Hamming there 15th, taking on Lucchini.
You see the front of the field and it's relatively chilled, it's relatively calm, and then you look to the midfield and there's absolute carnage going on. Thomas Harvey has managed to find a way through on Alex Lahu, now has Shimon Frelick for company, and Thomas Harvey can try to close in onto Masihayla, who is in turn on the back of Vincent Gut. Mike Quint and Patrick Rojak have been able to work their way up the field and are trying to close in onto Loic Mounier.
Yeah, it'll be crucial to see if Mounier can carry on this form and get fourth and then a third for his evening's work. Gila on his soft tyres. We'll be watching intently to see if Vincent Gut leaves any gaps for him to take. But in fairness, Harvey should be working as as determinedly as possible to make sure his teammate is not put under undue pressure. But at the moment, it looks like Gila is going to make that pass before any teamwork can occur.
You see the amount of speed that Gila was able to carry through turn 13 right onto the back of Vincent Gut through the final quarter. A bit of a wobble on the rear end, but he does have DRS and Vincent Gut will not. So this should be a textbook overtake now for the Bilsim Volcano driver.
Yeah, he makes his commitment to the inside of turn 1, and the job for the moment is done. Can he carry it on with the second dose of DRS? Yeah, it looks fine. So Vincent Gut, he just has to keep up for as long as he can, and then maybe Harvey will have a look on his radar, and then there'll be a decision to make whether or not Vincent should be able to be the lead Spark driver for the moment.
And now Masihayla can get his head down and try to hunt down Mike Quint, and Rojak is going to put up as much of a defense against Quint as he can so that Gila can close in. And I'm sure Vincent Gut will not pose much of an issue to Thomas Harvey. I'm expecting him to let Harvey through probably on the back straight or on the start finish straight so that Harvey can work his way up through the field as quickly as possible. And here come then the here come the Spark drivers, and no swap in position this time.
Yeah, it's not necessarily needed just yet, but Lahu wanting to get his first top 10 of the season after being one corner away from the top 10 and therefore reverse grid pole. It just puts the dagger into that already gaping wound, really. So if Lahu can shock Harvey here, this will be a huge boon to his confidence.
Masihayla has just put in the fastest first sector of the race so far. Not quite the fastest lap, as that's going to be an attempted send from Loic Mounier up the inside of Zabinski. That's going to put Zabinski under a lot of pressure and allow Carlos Martin now to pull up the road. As you can see, Patrick Rojak closing in, so is Mike Quint. We're very soon going to have a five-way battle for the race lead.
Yeah, so Mounier now getting his elbows out after such composure in the first race. He did his due diligence and got the result, but now with the opportunity of even greater riches, that would be absolutely huge for him. Martin keeping about 0.6 of a second worth of an advantage over Zabinski. Watch out as well for Rorschach. A determined effort for him as well. He would love to unseat one of these podium sitters.
Down into turn 11 they go once more. Carlos Martin leading ahead of Zabinski, Mounier, Rojak, Quint, and Gila not far away. Vincent Gut still keeping Thomas Harvey and Alex Lehoux, Szymon Frelick, all behind him in a train of cars that leads all the way down to Guzovski in P19, actually. Question is, how much more pace does Carlos Martin have available? The hard tyres weren't really his forte, as when he was on the soft tyres we saw some incredible pace out of Martin. And let's not forget, for Bahrain, on those soft tyres, we're expecting those soft tyres to start losing their pace around lap 14, lap 15. So Hyler knows that he needs to get all of his work done as quickly as possible.
Right, Yousuf, his chance at the top 5 may not be possible now. Harvey gets the move done. His teammate has to yield. And now Lehoux, in a very similar paint scheme. It can be easy to confuse the two, but yeah, the Spark guys have the race as a sponsor on the rear wing end plate, for example. So that's one trick to tell them apart. But this is a real test for Lehoux. He's got the championship leader, the hat-trick hero, on his case. And if he can keep up this work, it will be very difficult for Frelick to get that 100% podium sequence alive.
You do have to feel, though, that the quadruple wins for Frelick is not going to happen. Currently down in P10, didn't have the best of starts to this race. He had to start from down in P10, drop down to P12 on the opening lap, has been able to fight his way back through the order, but so many moves are going to be needed, and Alex Lehoux is all over the back of Vincent Good. Thomas Harvey has just checked out and is really hunting down Bahrain to create a 7-way battle for the race lead that is still being led by Carlos Martin.
Yeah, the more the merrier. It can get tasty as the laps tick down. Lap 7 of 19 will be next on the horizon. But Lehoux, his efforts continue here, and Frelick has to just remain in station. How about his teammate, though, Munier? Down the inside, Zabinski may have left the door wide open. It's a turn in and a tap. They're gonna continue this contest all the way to turn 4.
And Rojak is watching this battle unfold. Mooney on the inside, Zabinski on the outside, heading into turn 4. Almost more contact between the two, side by side on corner exit. But Mooney gets the job done, slams the door shut in Zabinski's face. As we look further down the order, that's Szymon Frelick on the outside of Alex Lehoux through turn 4. Lehoux giving as little room as possible, still almost side by side now, heading through turn 5. But no way through for Frelick as they head through 6 and 7.
Yeah, TOP might have the crushing advantage so far thanks to Frelick, but because of Mayer's disappointing race 1, you know, you don't want the case of points being squandered again. So Frelick, he's giving Lehoux a notice. Please move it or I will move you. So let's see if Frelick will go for the attack. His signature move there into turn 11, getting a lot of runoff. Oh, that's Jack Mayer just behind. That was close to a wide potentially there.
So I did think that was Frelick, but you
are
bang on, Owen. Jack Mayer with his rear end. I saw the top. He's Mayer again. Those rear tyres just a little bit overheated and can't find the traction through turn 13. Thankfully for Mayer this time, though, he won't lose any positions from his track excursions. Meanwhile, at the front now, Bahrain almost within a second of Mike Quinn. Thomas Harvey a little bit further back down the order, but your top 5 are separated by 2.5 seconds. It is incredibly close as here comes that's Alex Lehoux once again. It is.
Yeah, so TCS off have now got lift off, and that's P8. Beautifully executed there. Could have gone wrong, but how about the double disaster for Gut? He has to defend from Frelick, and he does. So yeah, Lehoux has to make his getaway immediately, because the class of Frelick will be ready and waiting to attack. But Mayer also just in the shadow of his teammate. He's got to stay alert to anything that may happen. So for example, Gut might break early, so Frelick will have to respond, and then the concertina will begin from there. So hopefully nothing shall occur.
Zabinski's really fallen back from Loic Mounier on this particular lap, almost a second behind, which means that he's going to be a bit vulnerable now to Patrick Rojak and Mike Quinton. Mounier can really start to put the pressure on Carlos Martin without having to worry about the trio behind him.
Yeah, that'll be very, very helpful to him. But Munier is still firmly in this battle for the victory. Zabinski as well, not at all out of reach either. So we'll see the defensive duties there for Martin as early as can be, taking that sweep to break the toe and resuming his racing line. And then, of course, Rojak and Quint are also in with a shout. And Munier down the inside. Is this for the lead? No, it's not. It's got to be the second bite, really. And there's contact. And Munier's into the gravel.
Side by side through turn 3. A little bit of contact between the race leaders and Loic Munier. Oh, it all goes down horribly wrong. He was my driver of the day until that point. You hate to see it, and now he's involved in this battle, actually, with his teammate now falling behind Alex Lahu. Loic Munier picking up a P4 in the first race, was looking at taking the race win, his first race win in Formula Sprint 1. And oh, dearie me.
Yeah, so all of a sudden Lahu has spotted his teammate and has to make a quick dash to the inside to get the move done. Otherwise, it would have been a real moment of disbelief for TCS off. But nevertheless, Martin resumes the lead. Zabinski has fallen out of DRS. Freilich still in 10th, stuck behind Vincent Gutt. So this is great news for Thomas Harvey. He has a huge opportunity to claw back a sprinkle of points as long as Gutt can play the team game. So TCS off, and Lahu's moment, it just fell apart with the contact with Martin.
Zabinski's actually close within half a second of Carlos Martin. I am getting worried for Suhayl because he is on those soft tyres, and those soft tyres are going to be falling off once we get to about lap 15, which isn't far away. Patrick Rojak really late on the brakes.
Oh, he's overshot it. Unfortunately, he's got to be aware of Quint's presence and indeed his own teammate. So all of all of the opportunities, they're short and sweet, but it sometimes backfires. Quint's on the outside, and he's got to stay. Wobble. Yeah, you can see another case of the cars unsettling. So this is just ultimate driving. Tire contact. Quint has to take to the escape route. He has to give position back, and Gila may take advantage. Another overstep of the rear tires, and all of a sudden it's Machi Gila for the podium.
Yeah, and you know very well exactly what Rojak was doing. He knew that he had Quint behind him, so he lifted off. You can check that telemetry. I bet you he lifted off so that Machi Gila could go around the outside of the pair of them, and Mike Quint is going to be absolutely furious. Good team play, though, from Patrick Rojak.
Yeah, it's the reaction times of these drivers that take the breath away. To think about your own teammate while you have an opponent off the circuit after an argy-bargy. But yeah, Martin, it seems those pieces are falling into place. He had 4 opponents not too long ago. Now it's a 1v1 situation with Zabinski. But Zabinski with DRS to come. So a bit of composure now required with Gila, who has those soft tires for a little bit longer before they start to give in. So yeah, this is a great opportunity for Zabinski on his own for this moment in time to go for the lead.
And Machi Gila has a big gap of road in front of him for him to try to close into Zabinski and Carlos Martin at the front of the field. What can Mike Quint do? Because now Patrick Rojak has a DRS in front of him, so it's going to be really hard for him to find a way through. And Machi Gila will hopefully, for this 3 behind him, be able to drag them up along into the battle for the lead. You can see Mike Quint is definitely quicker than Rojak as they head through the chicane and down towards the turn 8. Meanwhile, you're just seeing Thomas Harvey just biding his time and waiting for something to come his way.
Yeah, so I do see now that Freilich is 9th. There was a chance for him to overtake. So if Harvey can gain more points, Quint is off. Turn 10 is the moment of doom for him, so it's an easy pass for Harvey, and that is just what the doctor ordered, and Quint will be gutted with that one. It's just more and more dissolution for him.
So Mike Quint drops down into P6, just needs to get his head down, let his tyres get back to temperature. And you can see that Tyler really closing into Zubinski over the last lap or so. Last time round was a 39.6 for Hyla. They expect this to be a low 39, maybe even a 38 for the Bilston Vulpino driver.
Yeah, we're still in the 1 minute 39 range really after the early pace. So there we go. Hila does break the 138s again. Zubinski has still kept very much on target with the race leader. But the next opportunity to overtake, I don't think it's going to be immediately available. Watson on Gut. There you go. That's a delicate move. Well played. And Gut, if he's not careful, he will find himself in battles with more top quality drivers such as Mayer and Hamming.
Yeah, we saw the pace that Frank Hamming had in race 1 when he was on those soft tyres. Really, really good drive. Sadly, just missed out on getting into that reverse grid and starting at the front with the likes of Carlos Martin and Zubinski. But still, it's a very good drive from Hamming in P13 ahead of Menno Font, who had a pretty good race 1. He was another one of our drivers who was close to making his way into the top 10. Just keeping my eyes on Mashi Hyla, who is now almost within a second of Zubinski. Last time round, he did take half a second out of Zubinski, and Carlos Martin will be looking to do something similar this time round.
Yeah, it might be a more reserved lap time for Hila. But with that DRS boost that you can almost sense now, it will give Zubinski a little bit of concern because he hasn't yet dislodged Martin for the race lead. Hyperion will be rooting him on with every fibre in their being, but yeah, the inside line, it's not really a realistic prospect here. It's really turn 4 that has become the most common place for an overtake today. No, I don't think Zubinski can do anything about this one either, Yousuf.
And Mashi Hyla last time around actually slower than Martin and Zubinski, so not sure if he's made a mistake or if those soft tyres are starting to lose their edge. Thankfully though for Hyla, he's got Rojak behind him just to help him defend this podium spot. It's going to make things a bit more difficult for the likes of Thomas Harvey and Mike Quint to find a way through. But one thing is almost for certain here, Owen, and that is the fact that we are going to have a new race winner, our second ever race winner of Formula Sprint 1 for 2023.
Yeah, and let's remember that Martin is taking part in FS1 for the first time. He's delegated as one of the rookie entries to the series. Zubinski, very wise head on him, I'm sure. But the opportunity to make it a Polish double, it may be too irresistible for him to become the second race winner in 2023's FS1. I think he just has to build up a move over the next 2 laps and then see where he stands. But Hila has still got to conserve those soft tyres. Maybe his teammate is gaining on him. We'll just check those times coming in now. It's about the same really. So yeah, Hila is losing a small bout of time to his teammate.
But he is closing in on to Zubinski, which is the main thing right now. Shimon Frelich is very close to the back of Alex Lahou. And Alex Lahou, thankfully, has a DRS from his teammate Loic Mounier, as Vincent Gut. Still close to Jack Mayer. I think he's just been passed by Jack Mayer. Now has Frank Hamming right behind him for the lower end of the top 15.
Yeah, Hamming is going to try and see if Vincent Gut can be put away again, as his race has been a case of I had a good position but I haven't been able to keep it. Yeah, we'll see what the Hyperion of Matthias Z is capable of, as of course his teammate is Matthias G. So Hila is watching with eagle eyes to see what happens between these two.
In a second.
Yes, he's there now. Very well spotted, Yousuf.
Top 6 all within DRS of one another, and to be honest, depending on how ferociously they battle for the final 4.5 laps of this race, you can literally see anyone winning this.
Yeah, any one of these 4, potentially 5 drivers, as Harvey is starting to reach his peak driving rhythm again, as we saw him get so close to victory in race 1. And with the final 5 laps to go, yeah, Hila has probably got to get Zabinski put away here. Oh, that's too close for comfort. He will lose time there with the contact. Thankfully, no damage to the front wing. Roshak should be alert to his teammate losing that spot of time. As a matter of fact, Harvey will also gain from that a little bit of a concertina.
Thomas Harvey very close to the back of Patrick Rojak, and Rojak actually not having a good opening sector, has really fallen back from Heiler, despite Matthias Heiler having that moment into turn 1. Again, your top 6 overall separated by just over 3 seconds. Loic Mounier, Alex Lahou, Shimon Frelick actually falling back from the top 6. The gap now 5 seconds between Mounier and Quinton, P7 and P6 respectively.
Yeah, there's still a bit to separate those guys, but whatever Quint can do, yeah, now that his race is now within his own control again after some of those wobbles. Hila, yeah, we can see he is gaining another slice of time, another 10th or so over Zabinski. And this is his greatest chance yet. After the contact on the last lap, he's getting better and better, Yousuf.
He needs to have a send down into turn 1. We see quite a few drivers braking really late and fully committing into the opening corner, but I think Hila is too far back this time around to really have a go.
Yeah, we won't mind the fact that there's a back marker off in the background there, so we need to make sure, yes, that car's off the racing surface, so thankfully those yellow flags will be able to be obeyed, so these contenders can all get back to work. A little bit of a distraction. I'm sure Martin would have been the most uncomfortable seeing tire smoke all over the place, but yeah, it seems like no problems for these guys. Hila, yeah, he's got to make this opportunity count, Yousuf.
As long as he can do it on the second to last lap, he'll have enough time to close into Martin and have a go for the race win. But if he gets on to lap 18 and he can't have a go at Zabinski, that's when things really start to get dire for Heiler in his attempt to pick up a race win. And at this point, I think we can pretty much call Matthias Heiler the king of reverse grid races. You know, he always makes these soft tires last when nobody else feels that they can. And this would be his second time proving that the soft tires can work in a second race of the test.
Right, Jar, that's a very, very true point. We can see there is a battle for Watson, Lahou and Mayer, so maybe something's happened to Lahou to lose positions. It shouldn't be any worse than that. I just saw the name swap around on the race view, but I don't think it's anything worse than that.
Alex Lahou has dropped all the way down to P12. Let's not forget he was behind Loic Mounier in P8, so the curse of Alex Lahou strikes once again. 4 times in 4 races, there's always an incident for Alex Lahou.
Yeah, death, taxes, and Lahou's troubles. So, yeah, hopefully there'll be a time where we can say Lahou will be richly rewarded for his time and practice. So, yeah, in 12th place for him now. But it seems like Martin is getting his half a second retained with Zabinski, not able to do anything about it. Hila has still got the chance. Yeah, he is gaining again on Zabinski. So we'll see what happens there. We now convert to the second place driver. Can anything occur here? This is probably where, if the tires are screaming, they will let... Yes, exactly. It's Hila. It's gone too far into the corner. Harvey can take advantage. Oh no, as a matter of fact, it's Quint for a double. Oh, It's
Thomas
done,
Hardy's
yes.
going to get a slipstream on Mike Quint. Maybe he can have a go up the inside into the final corner. None of these three are going to be able to fight for a win now.
No, it's a job. Well, it's all over really if he'll just carries this severe decline. So yeah, he has to probably put a stop to it and say, yeah, that's it. But Quint with a magnificent double overtake for now. But here comes Gila for the second chance. Watch out, Harvey. You'll have 2 cars on your inside to worry about. And so now all of a sudden Quint is down. So I cannot believe what I'm seeing.
The rear end of Hyla is all over the place, and now Mike Quint is the one with the double slipstream. Attempting to have a go contact though between Hyla and Harvey. Harvey though holds on to P4, and Mike Quint finds himself back up to P5.
Yeah, this is basically an oval race on the outer loop. It feels like there's absolutely no regard for these tight corners. Someone is making a move every sector, and we are loving it. It does mean that Martin is making use of that advantage now. Zabinski losing out, so maybe Rorschach could fall into place for second and make a result for Biltzim after all. Quint will be buzzing, having attempted one of the moves of the season and then losing it and then getting it one of those 2 places back.
Well, I did say Thomas Harvey to overtake Mike Quint on the last lap of the race,
Yeah,
just that it wasn't for second, and I was a couple of laps off, but here comes Patrick Rorschach for P2.
And this is an unusual attempt. It's very rare to have turns 14 and 15 available for an overtake. Zabinski may want to lay it back and then get DRS there. Yeah, think about the DRS. Who's got it? Yes, it is Rorschach who's got it. Rorschach has it. So Zabinski has to counter into turn 4. Rorschach should have the turn in. Zabinski. Oh, he's gone high. Yeah, that's a disappointment for Matthias, going too high out of the corner entry. So Harvey will be alert to that as well.
I thought Mike Quint got a really good run, and he's going to have a little think about going up the inside. Thomas Harvey very respectfully leaves a lot of room for Mike Quint, who is unable to take advantage of it. And these two are closing in, as I think Frank Hamming found a way through on Jack Mayer, and now Mayer has fought back through. They're side by side, heading through 5, 6, and 7 with...
Oh no, not again!
And Alex Lahou loses his rear end, gets it back in the right direction, loses a few more places, and the Lahou curse strikes once more.
4 out of 4. It just gets worse for Alex, I'm afraid. Carlos Martin has got the final sequence to go, but it's not over yet. A podium position on the line. Thomas Harvey will be content if he can get this 3rd place and take a hatful of points away from Bahrain into Melbourne. It doesn't look like Zabinski's going to feel generous a second time, but we'll see Martin complete the final corner now. And yes, the rookie's going to make it. Carlos Martin for Netrex is victorious in race 2. A wonderful race 2. And he will be absolutely delighted. It's about to the line, Yousuf. Zabinski's made it.
Gets the position over Thomas Harvey. Mike Quint in P5. Mashi Hyla in P6. Simon Frelich P7. Loic Mounier P8. Amari Watson P9. Jack Mayer P10. And then Frank Hamming, Vincent Gutt, Philip Koenig, Menno Clonton, Alex Lahou is able, though, to pick up a point. So double points finish for Alex Lahou. Then comes Matthias Kuzovsky, Nizio, Lucchini, Dragoon, and Vaquinov.
Yeah, so... Yeah, it was such a dramatic race. We didn't see the charge I believe could happen for Freilich. And indeed, Watson, they didn't really get to make up all those positions. Harvey, though, did. So we can say he is going to leave Bahrain with a little bit of momentum after all. It could have been 1 and 3, but it is a 2 and 3 instead. But Carlos Martin, absolutely epic, but a bit of argy-bargy to conclude the cool-down lap. But it's all in good spirits. Harvey there just carrying on. Martin's probably just in a state of disbelief after winning such a dramatic and feisty race 2. But yeah, let's summarize the results again. Yousuf helped me out there first time, but let's do it again. Martin is victorious ahead of Roszak and Zubinski. Harvey, Quint, Hila, Freilich, Munier, Watson and Mayer are the top 10 finishers. Then the points are awarded to Hamming, Gut, Koenig, Clont and Lehu. Unless the second race doesn't award all the points down to 15, I'll have to double check that. Kozovsky, Nitsio, Lucchini, Dragoon and Volkanov for the top 20. And then the drivers, 21st through 24th are classified. They are Hoekstra, Fuentes, Miram and Furia. But unfortunately we saw 5 drivers drop out there. Marino, Delera, Van der Smissen, Russo and Voice. Yeah, even all the drama, we didn't quite spot those DNFs, but yeah, that is quite a running here. Probably my favourite race so far. Would you feel the same way, Yousuf?
Ooh, favourite race of the season. Are we saying as in overall race day or just of an individual race or of the 4 races we've had?
You can probably say the 2 overall. Would you say the 2 for Bahrain were the best?
I don't know. I'm trying to remember to Imola. I always have short-term memory problems in that regard. Every time I go to a new race, I forget what happened in the previous one. I honestly can't tell.
Yeah, that's one to think about. But yeah, Australia, 2 weeks away, the end of March there, the 30th, to be precise, before the debut of Jeddah in Saudi Arabia. So yeah, lots to look forward to, but I was thoroughly entertained this evening. But that leaves the final part of the broadcast, and that is, of course, the interviews. So yeah, we're looking forward to a raft of personalities to speak to.
I think we can bring in the top esports duo of owner Eoin Magorgi and Shimon Freilich in one go and have a chat to them.
Yes, of course. So welcome along, Shimon and Eoin. Yeah, I'd say the fact that you've got 3 wins out of 4, that's absolutely riveting for you guys. Would you feel the same way?
Yeah, definitely. It's a good start to the season. I was heading into the round not on my best, I would say. Thomas and Jack were looking better in practice, but then somehow I was just able to pull that win off.
Yeah, so I don't know if you would have seen what happened to Thomas in the pit lane. He had an unsafe release sort of thing, whereas another driver pitting, and then he couldn't get out cleanly. And then Carlos Martin was able to get in front of him as he exits the pit. So did you think, even with that bit of luck, that Thomas could have still won in the race 1?
It would have been really close, as you could see on the final laps. But yeah, in race 1, I stayed out that 1 lap because of Carlos. We weren't clear of him, so I went 1 lap longer to try to jump him, and it worked out with Tom also battling him.
Yeah, so then race 2, you were set all the way down to 10th, and something definitely put you down positions in lap 1. Do you know exactly what happened?
It was just people sending it. I was trying to just take it, just avoiding trouble, because I'm the championship leader. I want to get the points rather than go gung ho and crash with others. But yeah, race 2 was a frustrating race. Most of it was just being stuck in the DRS train of TCS off guys, which that didn't help. But luckily Alex made a mistake going into the penultimate corner, I think, and that just allowed me to clear both of them.
Yeah, it was Lahu in that late sector. Then Owen, to bring you in for a moment, I suppose, yeah, you couldn't be prouder of Shimon in race one, but with Jack's error in that same race, did you feel that race two, in similar vein to Shimon, that it was more important to just get the points on the board rather than going for glory?
It's always important to go for the points instead of sending it for a win every time, and trying to get as many points as possible. It's not the best idea to really send it everywhere. It's like, just you gotta hold back and play it safe most of the time. Unlike what Jack did in race one, but with Shimon, he played it perfectly in race one. Maybe with a bit of my help engineering him, but I won't take it away from him. He did a great job. And then in race two, Shimon already said he was playing it safe, and it's the right way to do it. You don't have to send it. You don't have to get every point possible. There's 32 races. There's 16 rounds. You can't win a championship in round two, and it's a good amount of points. And I don't know how the team's championship is looking, but I know that Shimon's definitely leading the way quite a bit in the drivers.
Yeah, he should have a comfortable enough advantage for Australia. Yousuf, do you have any questions for the TOP duo?
I do. So this is a question. I guess both of you can answer this, but this is, I guess, more for you, Owen, considering you're the strategy man. You're the brains behind the team. What have been your thoughts over the first two races of bin-Suhayl going for those softer compound tires? Because nobody else seems to want to do it, really. And is it something that you're now more tempted to potentially use in future rounds?
I'm not going to let others dictate how we drive our races and what strategy we use, but he could do what he wants. I think for the hards were the better way to do it in race in round one and round two. He's just, it looks like they've found something in the setup, or he's just a brilliant tire whisperer or something. Because Imola, we were all surprised that he made it to the end on those softs, and I guess I at least expected it here, and I called it on the formation lap. Just drive as if he's on the hards, drive as if he's going to make it to the end perfectly. But we weren't really anywhere near him in race two. But yeah, like I said, we'll see what happens next round. See how the tire wear is. But like I said, we're going to let others dictate how we play our strats.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Right. I think we can bring in our final interviewee then, and we can drag in Thomas Harvey if he can hear us.
Hello. That would be good if I'm muted.
No, all good, Thomas. So race one, the fact that you wanted to pit earlier than Shimon, did you consider there was a possibility of perhaps Carlos Martin getting in the way? Was that something you thought about?
Well, to be honest, like my rears weren't looking as good as in like practice weather, so I thought I'd get mugged if I just didn't pit. So I think obviously it was better just to stay out. And to be fair, I think I could have been more cautious out the pits, knowing that Carlos was there. I was just kind of going with the assumption he'd leave me a little bit of room, because I was just annoyed because I didn't really want to lose any time. But yeah, in the end, maybe probably should have pit the lap later, or maybe just played things a bit more patiently. But I think either way, someone had pretty good pace in the second stint and the first, obviously, and it was neck and neck between us two. So I think, unfortunately, it just came down to the pit stops, and that's just how it is sometimes. But I think still happy with P2, because I think it was a race for first or second.
So you do want to keep Shimon and all honest, but race two, it felt like you had a better handle of the race, giving the other drivers had other opportunities to succeed. But definitely made some moves. There was one incident in particular, must have been a shock to see. It was Munier. He fell down the order all of a sudden. So did that give you the confidence to potentially get the podium? It just didn't quite work out, though.
Yeah, I mean, I had a decent start for, race 2 standards was obviously very close. So surviving was obviously a good aim, just maintain position. But then getting a position was, useful. And in the end, just sort of, letting other people drop off, letting either their tires go or make mistakes. And in the end, picking off one by one seemed to work pretty well. I think every move was pretty much assisted by some kind of error. And I think that's just how you have to play these race 2s. Ultimately, someone didn't get as lucky with the traffic. I got a bit luckier with it. A bit more right time, right place. Obviously, not quite right time near the end. I think if it wasn't for some of the battling with Hyler, and obviously Mike Quint trying to get through because of that. I think, podium could have been on. But obviously, I think to get P4 was pretty good result anyway from P9. So I can't really complain too much. And in general, I think it went to get P2 and P4. I'm pretty solid, pretty happy with.
Yeah, Yousuf, how about you? Do you have any thoughts for Thomas?
I think you pretty much hit everything on the head, really. Only just looking at the season longer, obviously, a long way to go, and you seem to be pretty much on pace with Shimon. What's the kind of plan going forward? Is it just step by step, or do you kind of know that once you get a little bit more time in the car, eventually you'll find that edge over Shimon?
I mean, I didn't drive anything with winter at all, and I didn't really even think I'd actually be in a full-time seat for the start of the season, because it just wasn't really the plan. So when the Spark seat kind of came open, I knew that I was going to be a little bit off in the first race, but I wasn't even too far off. It was only really someone who was like a league above me, and here definitely the gap's been closed. So I think definitely, I think the pace will continue to increase at least a little bit. Probably not the same sort of margins for next race as I gain this time, but I think it'll be pretty neck and neck between us for the next races.
Awesome, thank you.
Thanks, Thomas.
Thank you.
Right, who do you want to drag in next, Owen?
I think Mache was just about first in the waiting room, so let's pick Mache.
All right. In he comes then. Mashi, can you hear us?
Yep. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear. So race 2 looked like you had another rabbit in the hat, but tell us what happened to your softs on turn 11. They just about gave up the ghost, did they?
Yeah, unfortunately, I mean, the softs just gave up on the end there. So, it's. I felt like I could have maybe controlled it a little bit better. It was still a mistake that I shouldn't have done, and maybe I still could have gone on the podium if I didn't make that mistake. But really, I wasn't having much hopes for race 2 because if I did go on the hard tires, I knew I would have even worse pace at the end, because I don't know why, but the hard tires just really don't click for me in this car. So yeah.
So, we can expect more of those gambles from you for more race 2s, but just want to briefly bring up the point with your teammate Patrick. You're both looking very encouraging in the first run of it. So do you think you're capable of building up the points for Build Sim and potentially getting best of the rest for the season?
Yeah, potentially. I mean, in this race, I felt like I could have even challenged for the win if I gave it a little bit more, in race 1 perhaps, because I was staying there with the leaders in the first stint, and only some mistakes caused me to fall away. So I feel like later on could even challenge for wins. I think obviously Frelik and Harvey, they're really, really quick guys. So being there, really, I'm happy being like somewhere there, even if I don't quite beat them yet, if you get what I mean.
Yeah, of course, there's plenty of time to go, so your confidence will of course rise as the championship goes on. So Yousuf, do you have any further thoughts for Mache?
I just wanted to ask, I guess, how long is the soft strats in race 2 going to last? Have you already planned out every single race and right, it doesn't matter what, we're pulling out the soft?
I mean, I don't know. I just kind of base it on how it went in race 1. If I feel like I could have went the full distance, then
Okay.
I go for it in race 2. But yeah, it's gonna be random. I might go on hard sometime. You have to watch
Well,
that.
it's been working out really well for you so far.
Yeah.
And just one
Surprisingly
last one for you, Mache. Is your surname Hila or Hyla? It's a little bit of a debate between myself and Yusuf.
It's more like Hila.
Hila. Okay, so both of us were wrong. We'll have to.
Yeah.
I'll take an extra note of that. Nice one. So yeah, best of luck in Australia, Mache.
Thank you. Bye.
Right, wonderful to hear from Mashi Hila. I think now we're getting it right.
Yeah, slowly but surely we'll have all the pronunciations under control. Yeah, it looks like the waiting room is empty. I thought Alex might be up for a word, but maybe just run out of time for him. So, yeah, I think let's have a final thought, Yousuf. What would you say is the future of the championship after today's race?
Oh, the future of the championship. Wow, you're asking me these big questions now, Owen. I think we're in for a really good season. There's going to be a lot of battling. We're seeing some drivers really picking up the pace. I mean, we've already seen Thomas Harvey and Shimon Frelick having a wonderful battle, and now Mashi Hila is closing in, and we can't forget as well that you've got the likes of Jack Mayer once he gets stuff together. And then, even if that's not happening, we still always have the question of, will Alex Lahu bin it from a really good position, which I love Alex. So I mean that in the kindest way possible, but it is always entertaining to see him having a really good race and then just thinking, is it all going to go to pot?
Yeah, if it just seems like a plot out of your latest sitcom, how on earth can it go wrong for our hero? But yeah, eventually Alex will make it count. Like, he has the personality to return and make a honest to God good spirit, have a laugh, and then put in the efforts the next day and the next day. So yeah, eventually I really do hope Alex's time will come. But yeah, in terms of best of the rest, I am happy to have seen great running for Malta Force, and indeed Spark were there obviously, and then NetRex will be delighted. They are now able to get the winner's shine for themselves. So yeah, there's plenty more to look forward to. And with that, let's call it a broadcast. My thanks go to Tom Stevens, who worked the cameras today. All of you who tuned in to watch and made the YouTube comments sparkle, I really appreciate that. And without further ado, from Yousuf, bin-Suhayl, and myself, Eoin Harmon, it's a good evening, and see you again in Australia.